You know, I went out, I walked around, I filmed the damn video. Didn't have the microphone in, eh? You're an idiot, Anthony. You really are. Look, guys, a lily pilly. That's what these are. They're edible. Now that everyone's tuned out because of the gross chewing noises, let's get on with the video. Shout out to Tight White, who mentioned that the video had no audio. I deleted it right afterwards. It's pretty stupid of me. I really should have checked it. But I wasn't thinking, I just uploaded it. Anthony, you're pissing me off. I'm down on my knees. Fix your audio. Oh man. Let's get across the street before we die here. It was bad though. That berry fucked me up. Alright. What's the point of this video? Top 3 games of 1995. Let's bring it back a bit. No one wants to be that close, not even my wife. Top 3 games of 1995. I'll try to make this a bit more brief. The last one was 13 minutes long, too long. I was more enjoying my walk than anything else. So, the number 3 game. I want to see people make responses to this video. I want to know your top 3 games of 1995. So number 3 for me is going to be Twisted Metal on PlayStation 1. Great game. I really enjoy it. I have a great memory of it. I used to play AFL when I was a kid, and we would go down to the AFL oval. We would do our training there after school. And after that, we would have dinner inside the place because it was attached to a pub. The pub had a little kids area, and we used to play video games there. And we had Disney's action game featuring Hercules. We had Crash Bandicoot 2. We had NBA Live 98, and we had Twisted Metal. I think it was Twisted Metal World Tour, but it might have been the original. I really love all of them though. They're just fantastic games. And when I think of how much I played it with friends when I was a kid, and how I could still just sit down and play through the entire game, it's one of those games where you could really play it again and again and again, because yeah, you're playing the same levels, but every character you choose for vehicular combat has different weapons and power-ups and stuff and special moves, and they control differently, so it's a different experience every time. And you get these really cool full motion video cutscenes, which is probably my favorite part of the game. Looking back, you know, back in the day we didn't think much of them, but nowadays I really love them for their kind of cheesy B-movie goodness. There's I was always kind of disappointed later on in life because the kind of movie and video game integration kind of died, and they went to CGI cutscenes, which I thought always looked really terrible. There's something about CGI cutscenes that look horrendous in games, where I can look at them, and even if they are very high quality, I can look at it and go, well, that doesn't look anything like a real human being. Even in modern games, like games released in the current year that are like top level graphics, I still think they look really bad in the cutscenes, because they just can't replicate what a human being looks like and acts like. Hey, there's a lizard. There he goes, running across. It's heaps. Lizards are cool. I love lizards. There used to be a tree there. It's gone. I guess this whole area had a bit of a mudslide. There was a big mudslide in Corinda during the 1974 floods. Little history lesson. So this area does flood, and it is susceptible to mudslides. Maybe not as bad as back then, but it could still happen in the future. Right, my number 2 game is going to be an old PC game, which I didn't actually play until maybe 5 or 10 years ago when I got into video game collecting. I I used to collect PC games as well. You used to find them everywhere, you know. I wish I had bought more because they're all worth heaps now, but it is I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It is based on a short story, a short horror story. I don't remember who wrote it exactly, but it is one of the more well-known short stories that are like sci-fi horror. And it is a apocalyptic tale about a artificial intelligence which took over the world and killed everyone except for 4 people. And the 4 people, it just keeps alive, continuously torturing them. And it sends them on these like insane quests across the world and tortures them all along the way. I believe in the short story, it tells them, you know, I have food for you across a desert. It's a tin of beans or something like that. And when they eventually reach the tin of beans, they don't even have a way to open it, so they still can't eat. The video game is a lot nicer than the short story. There's a lot of mosquitoes out today. In the video game, you play as each of the 4 characters, and you enter these like AI levels that take them to some of them to like certain points in their lives, others to like certain points in history. But all of them have something to do with the character, which is cool because it goes way more in depth with the characters than the short story ever could. It's like, obviously it's 20 pages long. There's only so much you can really tell about someone in 20 pages. There's no autobiographies. But it's really good. It's a classic point and click style game. And it's probably my favorite one ever, because I'm not super into point and click games, but this one really captured me. It helps that it's a lot easier to play than some of the others. Like a game like Kingsfield, I can appreciate for being incredible and groundbreaking, especially for the time. But in something like Kingsfield 4, where, you know, you pick up a slice of pie at the beginning of the game, and then 7 hours later, a guard asks you for it or he won't let you into the castle, and then you're locked out forever. It's like, stuff like that really makes adventure games kind of annoying to play for me. Same with, there's a lot of pixel hunting in adventure games, which I didn't find, you weren't doing it that much in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. There's a lot of puzzles, but there's also very logical solutions to the puzzles, which I do appreciate. But it is fantastic. It's really great. I definitely recommend it. That's my number 2 game from 1995. The reason I chose 1995 is because that's the year I was born in. So I was actually trying to see if there were any games released when I was on the day I was born, and I don't believe there were. May 10th. Please don't fraud me with that information, I guess. I guess you would need more to go on. Other than that, my number 1 game. This may come as a surprise because it's actually not a fantastic game, and it's not my favorite version of the game. But I have such a deep love for the original version of the game that I decided to include it as number 1. And there's a lot of games from 1995 that I just haven't played. There are ones I have played and really love, like Battle Arena Toshinden 2, Tekken 2. A lot of good fighting games, a lot of good racing games, but I wouldn't consider them favorites of mine. Like, I have no reason to go back and play Tekken 2. Damn it. These mosquitoes are everywhere. I gotta get out of here. In the rainforest. Tekken 2 is a great game, but it wouldn't be one I consider to be like one of my favorites. It is, I love it, but I like Tekken Tag Tournament more, so how can I consider it one of my favorites? But this one is fantastic. I still play it heaps. If I'm ever to play a game from the series, it's my number 1 pick, and it is Castlevania the Dracula X for the Super Nintendo. A very late release for the Super Nintendo, 1995. As I mentioned, there's a lot of late release Super Nintendo games that I never played, because a lot of them are RPGs and they're very long. You know, I never played Chrono Trigger. I played maybe 3 or 4 hours of Earthbound and got lost in the 2nd or 3rd town and gave up. Stuff like that. So it's like, I can appreciate games like that for what they did. I know Chrono Trigger is generally thought by people to be like one of the best games ever, but it's just not something I have a deep love for. Same with most RPGs, to be honest. They're just not my genre for whatever reason. But Castlevania Dracula X, I really feel like, number one, I think it's the best Castlevania game. I think it's better than Symphony of the Night because Symphony of the Night is fantastic, but they changed heaps about the game, you know. They took... In Castlevania Dracula X, there's two ways you can go about the game. You can go straight through the game, level A to level B to level C, and you can play it like a normal... like action platformer. But if you wanted to, you could also explore the levels, and you could find secret passages in the levels to lead to new levels that you wouldn't find otherwise, and you can do these cool things. Like you can... I remember the first time I played the game, I played through the whole game, never found Maria, never found any of the women, never knew there were women in the game. And then in the second playthrough, I decided to look up some things, and I found out, you know, you could find all of these women and rescue them, and it would unlock certain things, you know. And I thought that was really interesting, really cool for the time. And so it had this great replay value to it. This is going to be longer than the original video. Damn it. But I really loved that about the game. Ooh, that's a big spider. Let's not walk into his web. He's got a white back on him. I don't like that. That means he's probably venomous. I said I was going to get out of the rainforest, and I started walking further into it. Oh, that's a big tree. But in Castlevania Dracula X, I just think it's a fantastic game. The combat is perfect. I know Castlevania is limited in terms of its action, but I think that really fits the motif. You have to learn it. Similar to like a Dark Souls, where you have to learn the combat and figure out that you can't just spam attack and hope to win. You have to hit an attack, maybe back off a little bit, come back and hit another attack, stuff like that. And I really like Castlevania 3, that's probably my second favorite one. But I think Dracula X just etches it out as my favorite Castlevania game, and my number one game from 1995. So guys, I want to know, what are your favorite games from 1995? And why do you like them so much? Alright, thank you guys for watching. I'm filming this on the same day that I filmed the other video. After work, I fucked up. I forgot my microphone. I usually don't film with a headset on anyway, but my phone's gonna die soon. You know, the microphone barely even works on it anymore, so I have to use auxiliary methods. I bought another phone, an Oppo X3 Lite, but I'm yet to get I've ordered a case for it off of eBay, so I'm gonna wait until I get the case before I start using it. Otherwise it'll get scratched, it'll get damaged, etc. That's gonna be it. See you at my house, bidding you guys farewell. Thank you for watching. Thanks for putting up with me, eh?